What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. This is your weekly reactor hunt video for the First Descendant. I do one of these every week on Tuesday because every week on Tuesday there's a 1 week reset where essentially new types of reactors, or different, right, let me rather say, types of reactors can drop from different missions. And so oftentimes you can find really good spots on the map to farm and get a huge amount of these potentially good best in slot reactors to drop. As mentioned, this changes every week. This video covers from the 19th of November until the 26th of November. And basically how I compile this information is, first of all, you can just make yourself a list like this. This pretty much shows every single best in slot reactor for every descendant in the game that are currently available. And then furthermore, you can actually refine that list into something like this, which shows you that certain descendants use certain specific reactor configurations as well. So like, for example, Esiemo-Lepic use the same configuration of fire and tech, since this benefits their skills the best. So that actually means that while you are farming for a Esiemo reactor, you are technically also farming for a Lepic reactor, which definitely does lessen some of the farm required. Now, how you actually get this information in game, there's a specific menu for that. You just go to your map and then you have to be sure that you're in hard difficulty and you press difficulty level rewards, which is F on the keyboard, and you get this list over here. And so, like, for example, I can say, okay, I'm trying to find something for Freyna. Maybe Freyna's not a good choice because this weak toxic reactors are terrible. So let me just do Esiemo-Lepic, which is fire and tech. So I could go here and I could go boom and I can go boom, and then you can see there are some options there for us to farm, and we can essentially just click on this and it shows you an area, and you can do any of the activities in that area and it will give you a high chance of yielding these reactors. Now, coincidentally, it is a good week for Esiemo and Lepic actually, and it's a good week for impact weapons in general. So we're going to go ahead and start off with this. So of course the reactor of choice for Esiemo and Lepic is fire and tech, as I mentioned. If you're looking for an impact mounting this week, it's a really good week for that. Now, the reason why I'm specifically calling out impact weapons for, and in this case it's really more about Lepic than it is about Esiemo, is because this is considered to be best in slot for an overkill Lepic, due to simply the fact, I won't bore you with all the details, but sharp precision shot happens to be one of the mods that enables this on your weapon of choice, and sharp precision shot on an impact weapon spins up very slightly faster than the normal mod on other weapons, but nonetheless an edge is an edge, so this would be considered best in slot. And so therefore an impact weapon with Lepic with sharp precision shot on is considered best in slot and really good. So if you can get that on a reactor, then, you know, let's go. So this is basically what you're looking for. You're looking for something like this, burning mechanics. You can see I have a perforator mounting on here, and then this gives you fire and tech skill. And of course, as I've mentioned, this is because most of the abilities from Esiemo and Lepic benefit from tech. Now, if you're looking for where to go specifically, let's go ahead and just feed that back into the machine here. So fire and tech, that gives us converter facility. Converter facility is over here. This is in Fortress or on Fortress. And this has a outpost on it that can be done in what is known as the Valby method. So you can also do this with Bunny, by the way. It's a little bit more finicky and not as good or easy to pull off, but basically with Valby you make sure that you don't increase the size of your water ability that trails behind you, and you kind of like just stack enough damage mods so that you can one tap all the enemies that appear on the edge of the map as you just go in a circle all around. And you make sure that you don't actually hit the boss, which generally spawns in the middle. And even if he starts wandering into your water, you're not dealing enough damage to him, and you can kind of like stop and get him to come out and basically just coax him back into the middle. This is very efficient because not only does this give us, you know, character XP, weapon proficiency, Kuiper, gold, and so on, but all of these enemies that spawn within the 2 minutes and 30 seconds that you can do this before you naturally fail this actually drop reactors, and usually drop a huge amount of the reactors that you're looking for. So hopefully this is lucrative for you and you get some decent impact reactors here with possibly a perforator mounting on it. Now, I will also say this, and maybe I should have said it at the beginning of the video, but the bottom line is the whole reactor farm is set to now change again with season 2, but I still think that it is in your benefit to have reactors with specific weapon family mountings on them that you're looking for, because once the new changes go live in season 2, then you'll possibly want good options that you can actually infuse onto already good reactors, or maybe you don't even yet have a really good reactor with good substats, which of course means that you want to be doing this in any case. Next up, if you are rocking Enzo, Gley, Yujin, or Luna, your reactor of choice is non-attribute and singular. So basically it looks something like this. So giving you non-attribute skill power boost and singular skill power boost. That is your reactor of choice for those 4 characters. So again, just Enzo, Gley, Yujin, and Luna, because that benefits most of their skills and gives you the best bang for your buck in terms of like best in slot characteristics, I would say. But this week is a good week if you're looking for general mountings. General mountings are of course some of the best weapons in the game. So for example, Enduring Legacy is a general mounting, Python is a general mounting, Albion Cavalry Gun is a general mounting, although that's probably not one of the best weapons in the game. But of course, Thunder Cage is also a general mounting. But I would say the primary reason to possibly look for this is because of Enduring Legacy. Enduring Legacy, even if you're not a fan, has to be in the top 3 for you because of just how strong it is or how consistent it is. But yes, good week if you're looking for general mounting. So let's check that out. We're going to go over here. We're going to say non-attribute. And we are going to say singular. That gives us this mission over here called Repository. Now, Repository itself has a mission in it called Kuiper Mine. This mission has been good pretty much since the beginning of the game, especially if you have a bunny. Of course, this can be done with you know, mostly with Kingsguard lands and stuff like that, or even Valby, but generally bunny works the best here. This is one of those missions where you start it up and then there's like 7 mines that you have to essentially dismantle, and you dismantle them by standing in them for X amount of seconds, and then they go away, and once you've dismantled all the mines, the mission is a success. Now what you're going to do is you're not going to do any of that. You're just going to stay in the middle of this area and essentially kill all the enemies that spawn on the outskirts of this sort of like little hub. And then every couple of minutes, you have an entire 5 minutes that you're going to spend doing this. You're going to just dip out and pick up the equipment and come back in. Now, with a bunny with a 3 that has a fairly large radius, or if you're rocking like high voltage, you'll be able to do this by pretty much not moving off the middle area at all. And this is a very super comfortable farm. Slap up something for you to watch, listen to some music, drink some beer, whatever, and just grind this out. It does give you a huge amount of reactors, but it also gives you good character XP, good weapon proficiency, Kuiper gold, and all of those things. So it's not completely wasted in terms of like, yes, it's not as good as a 400% infiltration or a special operation, but still nonetheless, even while you are farming for reactors, you're also still getting some other benefit as well. Hopefully you get some decent reactors looking for those 4 characters, Enzo, Gley, Yujin, and Luna. And then next up we have Sharen, who has been confirmed to be the new Ultimate Descendant that's dropping in Season 2. Now, traditionally, Sharen has been considered a weapons-based Descendant, which means your weapon choices using with her were more important. You weren't necessarily concentrating on skills so much, and so therefore your reactor choice didn't matter all that much. But that is set to change with her getting her ultimate version, because we're also getting 2 new Transcendent mods, and these most likely, at least one of them, will be heavy skill based. And so therefore it's probably in your best interest to start looking for a decent reactor for her. And of course her reactor of choice is electric and fusion, based on what we know right now. Why am I saying based on what we know right now? Because if we look at her skills, basically the 2 skills that you want to empower with a reactor would be something like Cutoff Beam and Void Domination. These 2 are her primary damage dealing skills. Now, both of these are electric infusion, but what sometimes happens, and a good example would be someone like Viessa, where we have a Transcendent mod which changes all of his skills from one kind to singular. It's possible that the same thing can happen with Sharen, and these skills which are fusion right now might be changed to a different type, like singular or like dimension, probably more like singular. So while at this point in time we don't know if that is the case, we have to act with what we know, and what we know is at the moment right now her best reactor in slot for skill-based builds is electric infusion, and this week we can farm that if we are looking for a high-powered mounting, which is also good because the point is she is one of those descendants that benefits from using a sniper rifle, and high-powered weapons are sniper rifles. So like, for example, the 2 options that we have here is, of course, we have Afterglow, and then of course we have Piercing Light. Both of those are high powered rounds, so if you're looking for a reactor mounting with those 2 in, good week for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here, we're going to go to electric, we're going to choose fusion, and that's going to give us Mirage Stone. Mirage Stone is this area over here in Agna Desert, and this pretty much is exactly the same as the first farm that I showed you for Lepic and Esiemo. It is an outpost that you can do with Valby. You configure your Valby in such a way that you don't actually increase the size of her water dragging ability behind her. You don't increase the damage too much, just enough to one tap the enemies as they spawn. You kind of like just hang out in this outpost for 2 minutes and 36 seconds until it fails, pretty much killing all of the ads that spawn. What you don't do is deal any damage to the boss or kill the boss, because of course then you lose some very lucrative looting time. If the boss wanders into your water, just turn and use your fourth ability to pull him into the middle again, or shoot him a bit and get him to walk over. But this should be very, very lucrative, and you could probably drag a whole bunch of these reactors out as we close the last couple of weeks until season 2 drops. Then this also happens to be a good week for the aforementioned Viessa, in the fact that you can actually also farm decent impact weapon rolls for her this week as well. Her role of choice, of course, is chill and tech. So frozen mechanics, a reactor like this is kind of like what you're looking for. And if you're looking for a reactor with impact mounting this week, you're in luck. Now, of course, impact weapons are some really strong weapons in the game. We have Perforator, which has recently been redone. We have Peacemaker, we have Wave of Light, we have Frost Watcher. Now some of those, and of course we have Blue Beetle. Now a lot of those will most likely not be blowing your skirt up and making you think, oh my god, I definitely need to get me some of that. But also do remember that Nazastras is also an impact rounds weapon, and Nazastras is a beast. This is a really, really good hand cannon, and having a mounting with this is sometimes a good idea, especially on descendants like Viessa that are depending on their skill power, their skill damage to deal damage, because Nazastra's buff is of course very, very strong in that case, because it actually reduces the defense of the enemies that you shoot with it. So good idea to get yourself one of those. Good news this week, we got a really, really good farm for that. We're going to go over to chill and we're going to choose tech. That's going to give us 4 areas to actually farm, but the only decent one here really for us is Abandoned Zone. This is also coincidentally the impact rounds one, which is why I mention it. Yeah, Abandoned Zone sits in the Echo Swamp, and it's got this mission over here called Environment Contamination Zone. This is one of, I would say, arguably one of the most famous missions in the game, just because it has always just been really, really, really good and efficient for Kuiper, gold, weapon XP, character XP, all of that stuff. And then the fact that you have a huge amount of enemies that you can kill in a very short amount of time, plus a bunch of yellow bars, means that you also get a decent amount of reactors and just loot, fucking guns, everything like that dropping from this area. So whenever people are telling me like they just want to farm and they just want to do a specific area and they want to get a high yield of items and they want to have it on quick rotations, especially if you have a bunny, this is one of the best ways to do that. Just super fast, super easy. You don't even need a ridiculously, geared up bunny. And something like a bunny with high voltage makes this so easy. You kill pretty much 99% of the enemies before they ever see you. So it's just really, really, really good and efficient. So if you do this, you're going to get a bunch of these reactors to drop. Hopefully you get some decent ones on there. Get some Nazastras on those reactors for your Viessa. And then last but not least, we have another chill descendant in the game, of course, Hailey. It's also a good week for her, again, if you're looking for impact mountings. Now you might be thinking to yourself, but hold on. Like Hailey is, you play her in one of 2 ways. You either play her as a sniper, and so therefore you're using like something like piercing light, which is considered the best sniper for her. And or you play gun Hailey, which is focused on the weapon that you carry, and in that case you're using Enduring Legacy. You're absolutely right. But there's an entire sub meta who basically, believe that Perforator, and I'm not giggling because I think it's bullshit. I think it's cool. But I mean, the margin of difference is so small that if you have spent all of your time and money and effort and everything like that gearing up piercing light, then switching over to something like Perforator doesn't necessarily offer that much benefit. But specifically Perforator or impact rounds weapons have a mod that you can use that are not present on like sniper rifles, and so therefore there's a way that you can get additional shots out. There's a, I have a build video for the channel on that. I'm not going to drag that whole fucking spiel into this reactor video, but the point is you can farm for impact rounds weapons this week for Hailey in her reactor of choice, which happens to be Frozen Singularity. So she uses chill and singular because all of her damage dealing abilities basically benefit the best from this. All right, so in this case, if you're looking for that this week, I have another really, really decent farm for you. We're going to go over here. That gives us Rockfall. Now, arguably, the mission that I just spoke about in Echo Swamp would be just as famous as this farm. So this is in Sterile Land. This mission here, Anticipated Ambush Point, is another one which is really efficient. It says 3 minutes or less, but you can kill this shit off in like 30 seconds. Again, Bunny makes this trivial, but let's be honest, pretty much any character can farm this. Your speed will just vary ever so slightly. Bunny mains will tell me it will differ a lot. True. But the point is, there's ways that you can do this with Kingsguard Lance and stuff like that that'll increase your efficiency. The bottom line is this has a huge amount of like special enemies that spawn. You have a yellow bar at the end. It's pretty much a huge yield of enemies for such a small mission, such a small area that you can kill, and you can oftentimes get a decent amount of reactors here. One of the things that makes this good is because, again, you get Kuiper, gold, weapon proficiency, XP, so it's not just about the reactors, but it's also because it's just so damn easy. These enemies present no challenge at all, so this is a farm that is even like very beginner friendly. You don't need an end level, you know, tune or end level descendant fully, you know, kitted out to be able to benefit from this. But of course, the better leveled you are, the faster you're going to be able to push through these, and the more of these reactors you're going to be able to pull out per hour, which is what we're all about on this channel. Efficiency above all else. Hope you get some decent reactors. Hope you get that perforator rolling that you're looking for. And that's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. Happy hunting on those reactors, and as always, fucking cheers.